Orleans. Essence 2017 is in the books, and you can best believe the plans are already on the way for Essence Festival 2018. But I could not leave New Orleans without going back to my old neighborhood. I used to live here in New Orleans in the 90s, and I lived in Treme, historic Treme. Treme is the oldest African-American neighborhood in the United States of America, and what a history Treme has. Treme is credited with helping to develop this incredible flavor of New Orleans. I am standing here with Louis Armstrong over to my left and the Mahalia Jackson Theater for the Performing Arts, two incredible icons in our music history, jazz and gospel. It was here in Congo Square in the 1700s when the slaves were legally permitted to congregate here because they didn't work on Sundays. So they could legally congregate here in Congo Square and sell their goods. They would also be able to find other people who spoke their languages. So it was almost such a place of freedom that this land here is considered sacred ground for the African American. If you get to New Orleans, make it to Congo Square. It was here that the sound of jazz was developed. It was here that the brass band, the rhythmic sounds of the brass band and gospel music, because this was the place that they could come on Sundays. And as I hear the sounds of the incredible rhythmic tones of the jazz bands, I think about the gospel churches and the church that I went to in Meaden, Tennessee. And we would be coming down that little dusty road to Meaden, and we would hear the guitar playing, and my uncle Evage March, who pastored the church, he'd have that drum and he would be beating that drum. And that kind of music is our flavor, is our culture. It's the music that carried us. It's the music that made us want to move. When I look around here and in this area that's considered Congo Square, it is on the Register of National Historic Places. There used to be houses here. People used to live here in this park. Treme, I lived on St. Claude Avenue when I lived in Treme, but there used to be houses here. So they tore the houses down and they turned this into a park. Unfortunately, because those were homes that African Americans lived in. And as I look around the park, and very few of us are here, and I was speaking to an older lady who grew up in Treme, and I said, "You don't see us in the park." She said, "Because we are still running." She said, "Our DNA is to run. We have run from our neighborhoods. We have run from the farms," and you see the commercials now of other people who are farming land. And we are so desperately, in some cases, trying to run from our cultures. You go to church now and you almost don't even recognize the music as the music of our heritage, the African sounds that make you want to move, that make you want to dance. And so she said, that's part of our DNA. If we don't understand that DNA is real, we were brought to these shores and trying to escape what was here. Treme is undergoing what some call urban renewal. Other people call it gentrification. But what she said to me, she said, we have endured so much in this country, and we are still here, and we're still very vibrant. Take the kudzu. They brought the kudzu here from Vietnam, and they can't get rid of it, and it's still growing strong. She said, we are still growing strong, and take courage in the fact that we are still growing strong. Our heritage, it runs so deep in our DNA as well. We are here in Armstrong Park in Treme. Can't come to New Orleans without coming here. And yes, it is hot out here today. I've had a great time in New Orleans this weekend, over this 4th of July weekend. If you're home or if you're traveling, make it a safe 4th of July. If you're in New Orleans, pay homage to this sacred land called Congo Square, where Africans were allowed to congregate, where Africans on Sundays, this was their place of freedom. Congo Square in New Orleans. Wherever you are, seek out some African American history wherever you are, not just because you are African American, but because you are an American. This is a weekend about freedom. freedom for all. We want to learn about everything that helped to make America great the first time. I'm Pamela Coons at the Wellness Radio TV in New Orleans, in Treme, in the sacred ground, on the sacred grounds of Congo Square. At the Wellness Radio TV. Remember, there is healing at the well.